Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare turned 15 years old yesterday. On October 5, 2007, the legendary Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was released. The iconic game marks 15 years since its release. One of Activision's most successful games of the time, it won numerous awards, including the VGX Award for Best Shooter of the Year. The game was so popular that it received 2 sequels, several remasters and a modern restart, which continues to be developed. Just 2 weeks ago a sequel was released for the restart of Modern Warfare. It's a pity, but with the current leadership of Activision, you don't have to wait for the same legendary game. Fans need to put up with a small amount of content, expensive cosmetics and technical errors. And now let's remember a little history, how exactly the game was created, who proposed the idea of Modern War and how it was possible to convince the management to take such a step. The studio, consisting of hundreds of developers, was given the task to create a unique shooter, but not in the style of the Second World War in 2 years. The creators had a lot of ideas, but in the end the team agreed on a modern setting, which eventually turned into a whole trilogy. When creating the storyline, the developers tried not to make the events look like real ones, and limited themselves to using the general theme of the confrontation between 2 major powers. In order to create a realistic atmosphere, the creators visited real training centers in the United States, learned how the Abrams tank works, and spent a lot of time interviewing Marines who had been in real combat. Veterans were also involved in the development of artificial intelligence. Critics received the shooter very warmly. Many gaming publications praised the game for its gameplay, atmosphere and realism, as well as for a good storyline. Also, critics really liked the innovations in multiplayer, large-scale open locations, kill streaks and dynamic gameplay made the game fantastic at that time. The game has received numerous awards, such as Best Graphics from Game Critics, or Best Xbox 360 Game from GameSpot. Why has multiplayer become so revolutionary and cool in terms of gameplay? A separate team consisting of professional developers worked on the online game for all 2 years, plus at that time the studio was not afraid to experiment, introduce really large-scale changes and bring new features to the project. Studio veterans also worked on the game, so you didn't have to spend time training newbies, which saved quite a lot of time for working out the technical part. Although there were some mistakes, if you think that earlier games came out only good, and they were not criticized, you are mistaken. Modern Warfare was criticized before its release for having a poor beta, with only 1 level from the story campaign present, and fans wondering why so little, and again the same thing. The studio chose a level that was similar in gameplay to old games, such as Quarter Shooter, where you only need to shoot. The most juice was left for release, but this approach is not very popular with future buyers. But even so, the final version of the game has become an ideal for several of years to come in the genre of shooters. Now, for Activision to decide to experiment and change some mechanics to something new, it's like a dream. It seems so close, but it will never come true.